Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing top 10 comic book Kickstarters of the month. And before I jump into this one, I do want to mention that I do Kickstarter consulting. So if you're looking to up your game for PR work and marketing of your page, definitely go DM me or message me. My biggest campaign that I've done has over 1,300 backers, so definitely would love to work with you. Now, also, I do have a couple of friends who have Kickstarters, and I don't like to be biased with this list, so I'm going to mention those Kickstarters and then jump into the top 10. So first up is Crossover Divisions. If you are a fan of prose work and classic literature, this is the book for you. It very much bleeds through how much Will loves literature, and these characters love literature as well. And if you're a fan of Shakespeare, that's exactly what this issue deals with. So definitely go check that one out. The next one is from my friend Charlie, and his book is called How I Slept My Way Through College and Other Tales from Freshman Year. So definitely gearing into the longer titles that we've been seeing, like Something is Killing the Children and A Nice House on the Lake. We do have a longer title here. And with this one, we get to see exactly the vibe that I get from it is definitely sex education and also the sex lives of college girls. Really great storylines. Definitely go check this one out if you're looking for a thriller type book. And this is also has to do with a professor running an escort business. So I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to delve into with comics, because I haven't really seen a storyline like that in comics. So jumping into our top 10 now. So number 10 for me is Legend Comics LLC presents Storm Glider, and this is your classic superhero tale with a black lead. I really love the art style for this one, and that really jumped out at me, and I love coming from the ground up to check out these characters. And this one's actually not an issue 1, so this is an anthology introducing this world and introducing this character, so it's really starting from the ground up to delve into this world. Now, moving on to number 9, which is Ignition, issue 1 through 3. And this has to do with a previous racer who gets into this high-speed action and kind of delves into that world. And this is another world that I haven't really seen many comics dive into. I think the only thing I could be familiar with is Motor City, I think it was called. It was from Image Comics, and Babstar was doing it, something Motor, I think it's Motor City or something. And that was a great book. And this definitely kind of had similar vibes. Even some of the art style felt a little bit cartoony to really delve into, again, a similar style to that book and similar aesthetic. Moving on to number 8, which is Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries, and this definitely had a very Scooby-Doo aesthetic for me. And a very interesting setting of a circus. So these characters are, living their day to day, I would say, in the circus and figuring out these mysteries along the way. So visually, I thought that was just such an interesting place to explore this. And again, I'm a sucker for Scooby-Doo, so hopefully it's in the same vein as that. So moving on to number 7, which is Cyberforce Complete Collection Volume 1. I always do like promoting these books where we get to see bigger publishers utilizing Kickstarters and really funneling fans that might like Cyberforce or might just be into the direct market and get them familiar with Kickstarter and utilizing Kickstarter to, again, even find new fans as well. So, obviously this is a big collection, a big 90s collection, and just seeing 90s fans get into Kickstarter I think is really important, and just fans of that franchise getting an opportunity to read that book in a different way. So that is number 7 for me. Moving on to number 6 is probably one of the bigger titles on the platform for this month, and that is Dig issue 1. If you're into vigilante, gritty storylines, this is, I believe, a sequel to a horror book they've already done called Sync. This is done by Tyler James, who's done so many Kickstarters, so many successful Kickstarters, so you're in the right hands for this one. So go check out Dig issue 1, and that is number 6. Moving on to number 5, which another company that does a lot of great Kickstarters, and that is Unlikely Heroes Studios, and that's Power Broker issue 1. And this just had a really cool concept. How about if anyone had superpowers, but you had to pay for it? Or you had to pay a price for it, and that just feels like a very interesting, ethically, morally cool story to tell with the twist of genre that we love in comics, which is superheroes. So that is my number 5 pick. Moving on to number 4, which is Save the Day issue 1, kind of a similar, definitely not tone, but a similar twist on heroes, is that how do you stand out as a hero if everyone's a superhero? This is an all ages book. The artwork definitely kind of has this Tiny Titans feel to me, and even some of the feeling and look and tone of the book had very Tiny Titans feel to me. This is just a cool concept that I feel like anyone could read, and I think these books are important as well, just for the comic book industry in general, to get more kids in the comics and grow up in comics. And if they find that on Kickstarter, that's an even better route. I think it's cool to see that kids and teens and anybody can find comics in different ways. So that is my number 4. Moving on to number 3, it's the holidays, so I have to mention this one. It's called X-Maschina, the futuristic holiday horror comedy comic, and this is about Santa Claus versus robots. So, you know, you're very used to the heartwarming stories of Christmas. You don't really get to see the gritty stories of Christmas very often. So to see kind of this, like, I don't know, I don't want to say Terminator route of a book, but just to see robots and something mechanic, very mecha versus Santa Claus, and it seems like a bit more of a tough Santa Claus. I just thought that concept was so cool and great for a December Kickstarter. So moving on to number 2, which is Majestic Volume 1, and this has to do with a young shapeshifter finding outcast boy, and I'm very curious to see who's going to be the main character here, because usually the outcast boy would be the hero's journey character going alone and doing his thing. So now bringing in a shapeshifter character, how are they going to mesh, and what is this comic going to look like? So that is my number 2 pick. Moving on to number 1, which is BPM, Beatdowns Per Minute. And this just had such a Scott Pilgrim vibe to me, at least the video game side of things. It has to do with old school video games, and the aesthetic just really called for me. And we do have the creator who has done so many other things on Kickstarter, like Kiltopia. So already it's a creator and publisher that we know and love, doing this really cool, nostalgic comic, and just the look of it seemed really interesting to me. So that is why that is my number 1 pick. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Definitely let me know in the comments below, what were your favorite Kickstarters of the month? What are you backing? And I will see you guys next month. Thanks, guys. Bye.